Yeah, what's up? So let's talk about gender war and how gender war has basically caused a lot of people to become miserable right now, so to speak. So I have a thought process that I feel like I might share, and this is how it goes. This idea of gender war did not start today. So it started long time ago when we were small with subtle jokes about what a man can do, a woman can do better. You see those jokes like that, we take them to be jokes because they are innocent jokes. And one thing you don't get to realize is it is slowly pitching the men against the women. It is slowly trying to make women compete with men. And there are literally women, yeah, who take such beliefs and they go ahead and try to compete with boys in physical activities. Right. In primary school, right? Yeah, well, because they are women grow faster than boys, although in terms of physically and all that. It's okay. They might see very, very little differences. The differences begin to come up when adolescence kicks in. So now, gender war has sort of, what's that word? And has sort of grown into this concept of men versus women. Now, all of a sudden, before I used to watch this gender war as cruise, as play, as joke because I don't hate women. I don't. Although it has served a purpose, right? It has served a purpose. I'm not going to sit down here and tell you it serves a purpose because one of my life messages, nothing is good, nothing is bad. Every single thing is built to serve a purpose. And the purpose of gender war is to show you the other side of the other gender. Because right from time, right, we'll be having this illusion that a particular gender was not capable of doing any form of evil. But recent times, nah, with recent studies that have come out. So I'm trying my possible best not to make it men versus women because it's supposed to be a conversation which we have as a friendly conversation, right? Just a very friendly one. So when when people take this thing to be jokes, which is supposed to be jokes, it becomes a big deal where people are beginning to buy podcast mics. Mind you, those mics are not cheap because I want to start a podcast basically to help men grow, right? I want to start a podcast. Bro, those mics aren't cheap. So if you feel like but you adjust the podcast, it's basically to tell men to become better versions of men, not to become weaker versions of whatever. So I remember, speaking of podcasts, I met this lady at the gym who came across my content, and she asked me, "Oh, okay, you do content?" I said, "Yes." And she's like, "What's my content about?" So my content is about telling men to become stronger, right? For us to build a community of stronger men. Then she opens her mouth to say, "The world does not need strong men. The world is already patriarchal. It's patriarchy enough." That's what she said. And I said to myself, either I have two options, right? Either to sit down and educate this lady, right? Or or just ignore the situation. But I always say, right? The answer always lies somehow in is somehow nuance between both extremes. But this is what I did. I saw her and I made a statement. I said, "Do you know that most of the problems caused around this world is caused by weak men?" He said, "Yes." You have to agree with me that it is strong men. It is strong men who commit the most crimes. So it is weak men who commit crimes like rape. It is strong men who are constantly bitter against women. He said, "Yes," she agreed. So do you want them to be more weak men? She paused. She kept quiet and said, "Well, the world is already patriarchy enough. I don't think we need strong men." I'm saying by saying you don't need strong men, you are basically voting for the fact of violence against women. You are voting against rape. I don't sorry that was a very strong word because one lady I was with, ironically, I didn't know that I was set up by this lady, but I'm grateful that my natural self did not fall for it. She was telling me to speak against rape. I said, one, I don't support rape, but instead of me preaching against rape, why don't I preach the respect of women, the cherishing of women? I said why? It's because from research, Whenever you preach against a topic, do you know what happens? When you preach against a topic, you make that topic more popular than it already is, and you're inserting the idea in the heads of men. And the mind, right, does not know, is more action driven than inaction driven. What that means is, it is not hearing what you should not do. It only hears what you should do. So for example, it's when you say don't rape women, that not is not taken to the mind as a word to use. So what the mind is hearing is rape women. You may say no, that's not true, because you are thinking that human beings think. Human beings are capable of thought. Does not mean that they always think. And whether I like it or not, the reverse is almost always the case. That most human beings don't think. Most human beings don't think, and it's a sad reality of things, right? That most human beings don't think. So if I say don't rape women, I'm trying to. I don't know if this word is even allowed on social media, but well, I'm basically telling men. If I say don't rape women, yes, I support not raping women. But like I said, knowing fully well what I know now, that whenever they discuss about things like poverty and how to elevate poverty, it increases the chances of people becoming, or it increases the chances of, or it raises the number of people who are poor. And I got this concept from the science of getting rich, that whenever you project a particular fear or negative emotion or negative action, that particular negative action becomes a norm. I mean, it's not what we want, but it is what it is, right? But I told her, and she was like, no, I wanted to openly call her rape. I'm like, can't you get my message? Why aren't you comfortable with me preaching the respect for women and the cherishing of women? She's like, no, that's not what she wants. I discovered that it was, but about that lady, it's probably a gist for another day, because it was later I discovered that it was the setup. I mean, me and her coming together was the setup, because I mean, I came into my innocent self, but it's a story for another day. So we were beginning to see men versus women, and the irony is that it's being done by people. If you zoom out a little bit, you discover that it's being done by people for profit. That's for clout chasing. They want attention. They're trying to recruit bitter people. Some people are even trying to make profit of single people. Or at least the more people they make single, the more money they make, the more happy they get. It's coming, but if you zoom out further, you get to realize that this whole gender war is being caused by what is called evolution, or quote unquote the universe, God and everything. And one might ask, what the fuck do I mean? There's a research called Universe 25, and it's a research that was done on mouse, because whether I like it or not, whenever they experiment on animals, there is a sort of reflection in human beings. Why? Is because by default we are animals first before we are animals who can think. So what that means is that the moment our animalistic nature kicks in, anything above, which you think is sense, which you think is common sense, or anything that involves thinking, flies out the window. So okay, so my camera died on me while I was recording. So I was talking about Universe 25, right? And how the fact that Universe 25 is an experiment where they brought rats. But just in case, before I discuss it, you should know that this experiment was repeated several times to make sure that they have to be sure about if they didn't miss certain variables. But this is it. They created a maze, right? Put rats in this maze, put food around, right? Just observe what will happen. So what happened was they were mating, the population was growing. What was that? They were mating, food was in abundance. I mean, the food was in abundance, they were all having pleasure, they were all having fun. The population was skyrocketing. Then it got to a particular point where as the population grew, where there was a sharp decline, there was a decline in the population due to things like depression, less mating happening. There was still abundant food though, there was still abundant food. So people have been trying to figure out what was the cause, but the entire point is that I feel like human population have gotten to that level where, got to that point where there's only one direction we can head, which is down, which is like down, down, down. So think about it, right? Right now we live in a time where the population is high, right? There's abundance, there's a lot of sexual activities happening, abundant food, large population, a lot of options. So now, in this rat experiment in verse 25, someone gave an explanation which completely blew my, which I would consider as a very good explanation. What he said was that when you have a situation where the number of roles available is less than the number of people, right? As in terms of percentage, right? In terms of, then it's going to lead to a life of meaninglessness. And that process, a lot of people will get it like they'll get depressed, they'll get tired, they'll not see a zest for life. Because rats were having depression. Some of them did not want to mate, some of them didn't even find joy in doing anything. Even eating, some of them just passed on. So it's not like there was sickness, there wasn't sickness, no. It's just they were tired of everything. They were just tired. Whether it was dopamine activities, activities that they used to enjoy, that they were built to enjoy, they did not want to do anything with those activities. That's the point. And I feel we're getting to a point where depression is to the rise, dopamine chasing activities is through the rise. The number of the population we have right now outnumbers the amount of roles that society needs to thrive with. Who is this one now? That I come up for here. Why are you coming with all those noise? So you are protecting somebody and so forth. I have four, so sorry, hold on please. I don't think they're going to catch me. It's not going to happen. I'm doing it for the fun of it, for the vanity of it. Just see if I can give the guy a good chase. Behind chasing me, I'm just escorting somebody making a lot of noise. Okay, so I believe that this whole gender war is part of the activities that will make the population decline happen faster. Let's make it happen faster though. So yes. So I feel like if you're part of the community, part of guys that I'm rolling with, that think like that, if we think alike, you should get to realize that there are things that you can do that will not put you in the depression end, in the depressing end of this ordeal or something, this natural cause of events, because they ran this experiment several times and the results were the exact same thing over and over again, right? Exact same thing over and over again. Oh guy, you want to overtake me? Come and push me off the road now. I will too bend if you have that access to push me off the road. Alright, so I think at this point I'm exiting the express where I know that they can no longer okay, so all that aggression for what? So yes, I'm back. So yes, okay, yes. So my camera has died on me several times. I have to make a quick stop to pick up something somewhere else. So now I think I'm back. So yes, that. But basically, what I was saying was that if you zoom out and realize the fact that these activities, a lot of activities today are just degenerative. When I say degenerative, they aid in the decline of humanity. Same thing in the decline of universe 25. So I'm carrying like a chest freezer, so it's causing me to move different. Just be more cautious of the way I drive. So zooming out now is the fact that gender war is heavy. So I feel like this thing is a spiritual process, not really a physical one. So one thing I'm doing is bringing some boys together, bringing men together, and making sure that we are not part of the people who are aiding the decline, right? Because the decline is happening, whether I like it or not. It's a force of the universe. But the more we bring it to the awareness or to the attention of people, the better for us. So we need to gather more people, have a community of men who, yes, from time to time we get to enjoy the pleasurable activities, but at the same time, these activities should not hinder us, right? There should be things that we should enjoy once in a while, not become the norm. So now zooming out is the fact that gender war has made this decline super fast. It's like, so you as a fellow man, what should you do? First of all, knowing fully well that University 25 happens, the decline is facilitated by the fact that there are more roles and responsibilities than no, there are more. The population is outnumbers the number of roles or the number of activities available. So what that means is, first of all, find your purpose, right? Find the way you contribute to evolution. Find the way you contribute to evolution. Make things better for yourself and learn. Make things better for yourself. That is, find your purpose. Finding your purpose puts you in this space where your life has meaning. So what that means is you have less chances of facing depression. You have less chances of facing depression when you're actively doing something that you enjoy. When you're on your purpose, you're figuring things out, you're moving towards it. You have less chances of being depressed. Now, how do you find the purpose? Exploring. Have a vision, explore that vision, and get to it. Now, if you don't know what your vision is, start from somewhere. Start from what is called an anti-vision. What is the future you do not want, right? When you know the future you do not want, and you look at the opposite, knowing the future that you do not want, right? Having a clear vision of what you don't want, and asking yourself, okay, I have what I don't want, which forms what is called an anti-vision. From the anti-vision, you can then begin to craft your own vision for yourself, and that is how, before you know it, you have found your purpose, you have found what works for you, and you're on your own path. So the next thing I want to now look into is alright, this is a lot of water everywhere though. I hate this water touching my car, man. So gender wars, like I said, is putting this decline on steroids. And what that basically means is, I really pity the people who are participating in this thing, even though it's for jokes, because like I said, it is hurting people. And a lot of men are consuming this content. At first, when I was consuming it, it was entertainment, right? Seeing the way women apply logic was very, very interesting until I realized that it was just tweaking the way I saw them completely. But one thing I'm grateful for is the fact that I understood that, okay, fine, I get the message, right? So now that I get the message, what is next? What will I do with the message? And what I am basically doing with the message is simple. I'm gathering, I'm going out there and gathering ways that the men who join the community will basically not fall victims for this, right? It's me, and what you should do is actively understand that there are different kinds of women, right? The women you see on those podcasts are completely different. I rarely see quality feminine women jump on those podcasts to do what benefit will it give to them? Yes, it might bring attention their way, but to bring a lot of trashy attention their way, and it will lead to stress. So I've noticed that a lot of community women act and think differently, and the more you consume all of this gender war based, when I say gender war now, like I said, gender war is disguised in different forms. Gender wars will come, and a lot of noise and all that. Gender wars could come in form of jokes. Gender wars could come in form of podcasts. But the whole idea is, the purpose they serve is for you to create an awareness of the stupid things the other genders do. Mind you, because men do stupid things, women do stupid things. So it's not about who does much more dumber things, about knowing how to work with them, understanding the other nature of women, and knowing how to deal with it. Because the most important thing I tell about guys is, yes, you might say the red pill. Some people say the red pill is trash. People say the red pill is good. I say the red pill is to help you when it comes to what is called evolution psychology. If you want to contribute to evolution, if you want to understand the dating market, and really know it, it's best for you to understand the red pill. The key word there is understand, because when you understand the red pill, it becomes better for you to understand women, and when you understand women, it's better for you to pick a partner. So instead of taking the red pill and you are stuck halfway, complete the journey. And I like it when there's a phrase in Buddhism, or in all this in Buddhism, that says, before you are enlightened, what do? You chop wood, you drink water. After you become enlightened, you also chop wood. Oh days, I never saw this coming. Can I pass there? That'll be a lot. And I had the feeling of taking the other route though. And then after you become enlightened, what do? Same thing, you chop wood, you drink water. The point is, enlightenment just helps you to see the world in a much more interesting manner. That's one way. Fuck. So I feel like gender wars are distracting people. They're making people believe that is how the other gender is, not knowing that it's supposed to help you understand the other gender, right? The negative side of the other gender, and then know what you can live with, know what you cannot live with, right? So if you made it this far, I know I just ranted. There was basically no direction in this conversation, but just letting you realize that the moment you are done with gender wars, you should be able to zoom out of gender war, and then realize that it's not helping the larger population. So thank you very much. Go out there, talk to the other gender, go out there, touch grass, right? And remember that I'm building a community of men, and these men are supposed to help us become. These men are men that are like-minded, men that are working towards the future, and realizing that this whole gender war thing is not favoring them, and they see a need to want to get better. They see a need to level up themselves so that they can provide for themselves first, and for the people that they promise to provide for. We need to build men of character. We need to build men that are well-rounded. So if you stay this far, you're obviously someone that takes yourself serious, and you'll be considering joining the community. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon, and bye for now.